Good evening. Good evening. My conversation is usually limited to this. I will help you. Not I will fix you. Not I will talk you into peace. But I will help you by standing with you in that awareness where harmony is already established. Do you see? Before a word is spoken, harmony is. Before a prayer is formulated, harmony is. Before a remedy is searched for, harmony is. Be still and know that I am God, and in that knowing, creation is discovered to be complete. Here is the counterintuitive truth that drains the strain. The effort to make harmony happen is itself the veil across your eyes. The pushing, the pleading, the inner argument, this is the mist. Take your hands off the loom, and you will find the garment was already woven. I and the Father are one. Not two trying to agree, one. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Not to be made beloved, beloved. Not to be made pleasing, pleased. Do you follow that? Many of you are weary, spiritually weary, weary with accuracy of phrase and poverty of peace, weary of long nights of affirmation and short mornings of relief. You have been trying to coerce heaven with truth statements, trying to batter fear with a holier fear, trying to exorcise darkness with the flashlight clenched in a desperate fist. You have mistaken effort for grace. Grace does not strain. Take my yoke upon you, for my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. If it is not easy, you are tugging at a yoke that is not his. Drop it. We begin tonight from rest, not from warfare. You are not trying to heal. You are not trying to create harmony. You are not trying to make 2 times 2 become 4. You are recognizing that it is 4. Harmony is. Life is. Love is. The work is not construction. The work is recognition. When you agree to that, the breath deepens, the mind loosens its grip, and you become available to what already is operative, already present, already complete. This is not passivity. It is consent to reality. In a little while, we will do nothing more than 3 minutes of present IS realization. Not 3 minutes of persuasion, not 3 minutes of problem solving, 3 minutes of consenting to the fact that harmony is. You will not be looking out to fetch it. You will not be reaching back to remember it. You will abide where you are and discover that harmony abides as you. Thou seest me, thou seest the Father, for God is manifest as individual being. This will not be a feat. It will be a yielding. And then we will not ask, did you feel something? We will ask, what is the fruitage? You will test it where you live, before and after in your own consciousness. Has the pressure given way to a quiet authority? Has the compulsion to fix relaxed into a willingness to behold? Has the noise in your thought been answered, not argued with? If yes, then you have tasted the nature of grace. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know if we have touched the living God or only circled a vocabulary. I will help you. For these minutes and for the ones that follow, I will stand by with you in the simple awareness that God, the invisible, appears as the visible, that wholeness is the fact of being, that no effort of yours can improve what God already is. Do you see? You are not appointed to push the river. You are invited to step into it and find it was carrying you all along. Tonight, we begin not by making harmony happen, but by recognizing that harmony is and letting that recognition do the work. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. Do you see? A word may prime the pump, but if you keep pumping long after the water has begun to flow, you exhaust yourself and muddy the well. Our phrases can awaken remembrance. But once remembrance is stirred, let the Spirit carry the action. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. The might and the power are all the pushing, mental or emotional, by which you try to squeeze a result out of truth. The Spirit does not require your squeeze. I know how subtle this becomes. Many have told me. I repeated the statements. I clung to the promises, and still the pain stayed. And very often, behind those statements, there was an eye peeking at the body to see if the pain was impressed. That peeking is prayer to matter. It is bargaining with the arm of flesh. When you use words to check the thermometer of circumstance, you are still bowing to circumstance. You are looking for proof where proof does not originate. The letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. The letter, when used as leverage on matter or mood, eventually deadens receptivity. The Spirit, when welcomed, does the only healing that is ever done, the revealing of what already is. Please do not turn your compassion into a lecture. When a brother or sister is in agony, do not shoot cliches into their wound. Do not tell them there are no accidents in divine mind, as if a sentence erases the shock. Do not say it is only illusion while their tears are still warm on their face. That antagonizes the heart and trivializes the human sense of hurt. I resent it very much if, in my hour of need, someone starts voicing truth at me. My conversation then is limited to this: I will help you. And I help by standing in silence where Christ is recognized, not argued. Comfort ye, my people, not manage them with syllables. The common trap is this: repeating spiritual phrases while secretly looking for a change in matter, mood, or circumstance as the certificate of answered prayer. Do you follow that? It seems innocent, but it keeps your attention nailed to effect. It says to the invisible presence, I will trust you when the visible approves. That is a two-step dance with two powers. Drop it. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Seeking the kingdom is not collecting sayings, it is consenting to presence. It is an interior turning where you stop prosecuting a case against appearances and simply behold, I and the Father are one, not will be are. Harmony is. Words have their holy use. You may whisper, God is, to jerk your thought out of panic. You may declare, omnipresence is, to unhook your gaze from the horizon of fear. That is priming the pump. But the moment you feel even a little loosening in the mind, pause, stop talking. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, shut the door on the next argument for truth, as well as the argument against it. The work is not to win a debate with appearances. The work is to yield to a presence that is already functioning as wholeness, already maintaining its own harmony as the fact of being. Now you ask, if words are not the engine, what is? A state of consciousness, receptivity, the listening heart. It is the inner stillness in which truth is imparted rather than asserted. At first, you may need the words to guide you to the door. Use them sparsely, reverently, as you would a key. But once the door is open, leave the key outside and enter. There, in the uncluttered quiet, the presence announces itself, not as sensation necessarily, not as fireworks, but as a settled authority that displaces fear without argument. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. That voice does not shout over our babble. It waits until the babble subsides. So let it subside. Let this be our rule in practice. Speak only enough to turn, then turn. Use the letter to arrive. Then let the Spirit govern. In the minutes ahead, and in the days that will follow, you will find that the less you strive with words, the more swiftly grace moves. Not because grace needed your quiet to be present, but because in quiet you at last became present to it. Do you see? The infinite way is built around a few words. The first of these words is as God appearing as individual being. God the invisible as you the visible. Not two. Not a distant deity dispensing blessings to a pleading mortal, but the one life showing itself as your life, the one mind expressing as your awareness, the one love revealing as your very capacity to love. Thou seest me, thou seest the Father, not because a human has been exalted, but because the Father does not arrive at a distance. I and my Father are one. Do you follow that? As is identity. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear it without bargaining. That is not praise for human effort. It is the fact of divine sonship. Son is the appearing of the Father. The Son does not go out to find the Father, nor coax the Father to enter the scene. The Son reveals what is already present. All that I have is thine. Not will be, is. If you let that one word settle into you, the sensation of being outside, of being apart, begins to dissolve. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth my life. This is not self-aggrandizement. It is the selflessness of oneness. You are not being lifted up as a special person. You are being unshelled from personhood into presence. The second word is. This is the atmosphere in which identity breathes. Is tells you the nature of reality now. Harmony is, life is, love is, peace is, supply is, wholeness is. You are never attempting to make these arrive. You are consenting to their present fact. Do not try to make 2 times 2 equal 4. Recognize it as 4. The whole strain of religion is in that little difference. Trying to make 4 is argument. Realizing 4 is rest. The Christ never tried to produce bread where there was lack. He recognized abundance as the law of being, and they did all eat and were filled. Do you see? As reveals who you are. Is reveals what is. Identity and actuality. When you put them together, your work is no work at all in the human sense. It is recognition, not construction. It is beholding, not manufacturing. So tonight, when we lean upon is, we are not denying your feelings. We are not scolding the senses. We are withdrawing the belief that harmony is absent and must be fetched. We are refusing to feed absence with our attention, and we are consenting to presence with our silence. In Him we live and move and have our being. Being, present tense. Not a promise, a state. Let this become very practical. When the thought says peace is missing, do not rush to build peace with words or will. Turn, even if only for a breath, and let the simple fact govern. Peace is. When the suggestion says love is gone, do not petition the horizon. Acknowledge love is, not as sentiment, as law. When the agitation argues for lack, do not count coins. Rest in the arithmetic of spirit. 2 times 2 is 4. Supply is. You will feel the inward reach relax. You may not feel fireworks. Do not require them. The test is fruitage, a quiet authority replacing pressure, and, in due course, the forms of harmony aligning without your manipulation. As keeps you from praying as if you are outside knocking. Is keeps you from praying as if reality were late. Together, they free you from striving and make you available to grace. Hold them lightly, like a key. Use them to turn, then enter. In our 3 minutes, we will not try to force these truths upon the scene. We will rest in them. God appearing as you, God being what God is now. That is the whole structure of release. Now let us look directly at what you think you are fighting. You are not fighting a body. You are not fighting a mind. You are not fighting a past, a relative, an employer, or a diagnosis. You are confronting nothing more and nothing less than a universal belief in two powers felt subjectively as pressure, fear, and urgency to fix. That urgency is the hook. It whispers, do something now. And the moment you fasten that command to a person or a condition, you have given the arm of flesh a jurisdiction it does not possess. Do you see? Scripture tells you we wrestle not against flesh and blood, and yet 99% of the time we take hold of flesh and blood as if they were the issue. The issue is mesmerism, impersonal, hypnotic suggestion, arguing that there is God and something else, God and disease, God and lack, God and danger. The suggestion is never a person. It has no mind of its own, no law, no substance. It borrows a face, a symptom, a bank balance, a headline, and says, here I am real, but it is only suggestion. If you grant it personhood, you feed it. If you grant it substance, you fear it. If you fear it, you serve it. Resist not evil, the Master said, not because you should be polite to injustice, but because your resistance to a nothing is the very admission that the nothing is something. Drop it. Think of the oldest illustration. At dusk, you see a coil in the path and the heart leaps. A snake. The fear is real. The snake is not. When the lamp is brought, recognition unknots the stomach. No struggle with the rope is necessary. No argument with the rope is useful. You do not affirm there is no snake 100 times while peeking at the coil. You bring light. Do you follow that? In the same way, error presents a form and sells you a story. The story excites fear, the fear excites urgency, and urgency excites personalization. My pain, my shame, their cruelty, that tumor, this bank account, in that very personalization, the spell tightens. But if you withdraw personality from the picture, give not a thought to the person or the condition, you begin to break the circuit. Then say to yourself very quietly, drop it. Dropping it does not mean neglecting your duty or ignoring your neighbor's cry. It means you refuse to confer reality upon the mask that mesmerism wears. It means you will not speak to a person as problem, nor to a problem as person. When the Master said, "Get thee behind me, Satan," he addressed the tempter, not Peter. He depersonalized the suggestion and left the disciple intact. Likewise, when the storm roared, he did not wrestle with waves as if they were a second power. It is I. Be not afraid. Presence dissolved the panic. The sea was only the theater. The hypnotism was the script. When presence speaks, the script has no actor left to perform it. Now comes our practical directive, and I give it to you in the fewest words so that you can carry it into a moment of heat. On any call for help, inner or outer, give not a thought to the person or the condition. Drop it, turn at once to IS. Harmony is, life is, love is, not as a device to chase away the picture, but as the light that reveals the rope. Your 3-minute practice is precisely this withdrawal of consent from mesmerism. It is not an ignoring of life. It is fidelity to life. It is your refusal to let appearances draft your attention into a war that does not exist in God. Be still and know that I am God. In that knowing, the two-power premise collapses. Let me say it again, so there is no ambiguity. Error has no author, no mind, no law, no continuity. It is suggestion, and suggestion needs your consent to seem to be. When you stop treating it as personal and substantial, its authority begins to evaporate. You will feel this as the subsiding of pressure. The same world may still be on your calendar, but the bite is gone. Perfect love casteth out fear. That love is not sentiment. It is the realization of one. As the one fills awareness, the manyness of supposed powers fades like starlight in sunrise. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know. The breath slows, the compulsion to fix loosens, and in due course the forms of harmony reshape without your manipulation. In a few minutes we will sit together for 3. We will not argue with snakes. We will bring light. We will not manage persons. We will behold presence. And as you do, remember the rule that frees. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. Drop it. Turn to IS and let grace reveal what has never ceased to be. Do you see? Let us clear a confusion that has troubled many sincere hearts. To stop striving is not to resign from life. It is to resign from a post you were never appointed to self-made savior. Do you see? You have carried the world on your shoulders as if you were Atlas, beloved of God, and the exhaustion you feel is what any person would feel when substituting their will for grace. Surrender is not collapse. Surrender is the end of personal management and the beginning of beholding. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Not stand aside in indifference, stand still in reverence. The stillness is a posture of faith, not a vacancy of duty. Willpower and realization are not cousins. They are strangers. Willpower strains to rearrange appearances, to push forms around on the surface of the sea and call that dominion. Realization yields to omnipresence. It does not instruct God in methods. It does not bargain with outcomes. It abides, and in abiding, the one life shows forth its own harmonies, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. The might and the power are what tire you. The spirit is what carries you. When you stop pushing, you discover that life was already bearing itself as your very being. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stayed, not scattered on appearances, not flickering between is and seems, but stayed. Now, because surrender is so gentle, some mistake it for passivity. I tell you plainly, this is not a lazy man's work. It is vigilant, it is disciplined, it is the steady watch over where your attention rests. Every few minutes in a crisis, the suggestion will tempt you to look back at the waves for confirmation that your prayer is working. That glance is the leak in the boat. Seal it. Looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, meaning looking into the Christ of your own being, the presence that is the only mind at work. If, in the middle of practice, you catch yourself peeking at outcome, do not scold yourself. Drop it. Turn again. This returning, this quiet restarting, is the craft of a practitioner. You are training the mind to stand aside so the light may come to its own. In the heat of trouble, keep your speech to a minimum. The most helpful sentence in the world may be, I will help you, and then help by entering the closet where no words are necessary. Stand by in consciousness. Say inwardly, almost inaudibly, God is, harmony is, life is. Then be still. That stillness is not waiting for a sign. It is resting in a fact. Do you follow that? You are not trying to heal. You are bearing witness until grace is the only activity in the room. The battle is not yours, but God's. When the battle is God's, you do not run from the field. You refuse to fight shadows. This is why we practice. And this is why we practice simply. We are about to sit for 3 minutes. We will not force. We will not image outcomes. We will not project a plan into tomorrow. We will not mentally touch the person or the condition. We will not even ask for change. We will stand in the one holy acknowledgement is. Harmony is. Love is. Life is. Supply is. Peace is. not because we commanded it, but because reality cannot be otherwise. I and my Father are one, and in oneness there is nothing to secure, nothing to resist, nothing to upgrade by human pressure. You may notice thoughts presenting evidence to the contrary. Let them pass as leaves on a stream. You may feel a twitch to do something, say something, make something happen. Recognize it as the old appointment returning with its badge of urgency. Decline it. Return to IS. Stay with the fact as you might stay with 2 times 2 is 4. You do not make it so. You abide in what is so. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know if you have surrendered management and entered witness. The sign will not be fireworks. The sign will be a quiet authority replacing pressure, and, in due course, forms of harmony aligning without your manipulation. So now, for 3 minutes, we take our hands off the loom and let the garment show itself. We yield not to fate, but to grace. We drop not responsibility, but the belief in 2 powers. And we rest not in vacancy, but in the full weight of IS. Be still and know. Then let God be God. Before we enter the 3 minutes, let us prepare the heart honestly. If there is pain, acknowledge it. If there is fear, name it. If there is grief, let the tears be what they are. We are not dramatizing, and we are not arguing. We are simply ceasing to decorate appearances with stories. Cast thy burden upon the Lord. Not by pretending there is no burden, but by refusing to strap it to your back as identity. Do you follow that? Let what seems be seen, and then let it rest without commentary. The commentary is the struggle. The story is the glue. Drop it. Now give yourself this inner instruction and keep it very simple. Do not search for a special feeling. Do not attempt to engineer stillness. If you go hunting for a glow, you will chase your own lantern. Take no thought for your life. Includes taking no thought for the way your prayer should feel. Likewise, do not force thoughts to stop. The force is more thought. Let the stream run and do not fish. If a thought shouts for attention, nod as one would to a passerby and let it continue down the road. Your work is not suppression. Your work is consent to presence. Set your orientation now distinctly. We are turning from appearance to presence, from problem management to God consciousness. This is a literal turn. The mind that asks, what can I do about it, is relieved of duty. The heart that says, here I am, takes its place. Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. We are not abandoning prudence. We are renouncing the belief that the arm of flesh can accomplish what only grace reveals. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Quietness first, confidence as its fruit. Offer yourself a simple cue so the body and the breath understand your intention. Let me stand by in consciousness, not to think better thoughts, not to patch the picture, to be available to what is. If the picture grows loud, remember the rule that frees. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. The noise is not a person. The ache is not a power. The anxiety is not an identity. It is hypnotic suggestion arguing for 2. See it as that. Name it nothing. Then, very quietly, return to I is, harmony is, life is, love is. Do you see? Here is the central adjustment before we begin. Withdraw the demand for a result. The demand itself is the striving you are releasing. Lay it on the altar with the rest. Even the demand for a good result, lay that down. Thy will be done is not resignation. It is the only atmosphere in which grace is felt as law. If, during our minutes, you sense the little hand inside you reaching to check whether it's working, smile at it as you would at a child tugging your sleeve, and gently let your hand fall to your side. We are not peeking at waves. We are consenting to presence. If the body speaks an ache, a pulse, let it speak and pass. You are not required to evict sensation to know God. If fear returns with a badge of urgency, recognize the badge as counterfeit. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. The wrestling is over when you refuse to enter the ring. Stand by, let breath come and go. Whisper once if needed, God is, and then be still. Words are only auxiliaries. Finally, fix the only metric in your heart so you do not relapse into sensation chasing. After the 3 minutes, we do not grade the prayer by fireworks or numbness or even by the disappearance of symptoms on the clock. We look for fruitage. Is there less compulsion to fix? Is there less fear? Has a quiet certainty, however slight, replaced pressure? Do you find yourself able to wait without strain, or to take the next simple step without inner commentary? By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know whether you stood aside and let God be God. That is our preparation. Honest seeing without argument. No hunt for feeling. No force against thought. A turn from appearance to presence. The cue of availability. Let me stand by in consciousness. The surrender of the demand for result. And the one test? Fruitage, quiet, authority in place of pressure, grace beginning to show forth of its own accord. Now we are ready to be still. Now let us be still together. For 3 minutes we are not trying to make anything occur. We are consenting to what already is. Let breath be unarranged, posture unstrained. Allow the mind to sit down within itself. Minute 1. Softly, without push, recognize. Harmony is, let it register without commentary. Peace is, not imported, not summoned, present. Life is, not arriving, not departing being. Love is not sentiment, not exchange. Being loving as itself, omnipresence is, here, now. I do not make this so. I am beholding what is so. Be still and know that I am God. Let the knowing be as simple as 2 times 2 is 4, no struggle, no lever, no bargain. If a thought tries to arm wrestle, smile and let it drift. Return gently. Harmony is, peace is, life is, love is. Do you see? Recognition, not affirmation. The difference is rest. Minute 2. Let as come quietly behind is the backbone of identity. The reason isness feels near. God is manifest as individual being. God appearing as me, the listening one, not a personal boast, but the humility of oneness. I and my Father are one, not two. God the invisible as this visible awareness, as this breath, as this capacity to behold. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear it as fact, not flattery. God appearing as all, each face that rises in thought, each creature of his hand, the sparrow and the troubled neighbor alike, the same one, wearing countless names, still the one. Now, as you rest in as any picture that steps forward claiming urgency is recognized as only the arm of flesh nothingness. No law, no mind, no selfhood, no continuity. It has borrowed a mask, a symptom, a number, a memory, a forecast. It is suggestion, not substance. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. So we do not wrestle, we do not confer personhood upon the picture, nor power upon the fear about it. Very softly within, say, drop it. Not the person, never the person. The suggestion, get thee behind me, Satan, to the temptation, while loving the disciple untouched. Return to is within, as harmony is, as God appearing as all. Life is, as God appearing as being. Love is as God appearing as this capacity to recognize love. Hold it like a bird in the hand, so lightly it forgets it was ever caged. Minute 3. Words have primed the pump. Now let the water run. Release even the phrases. Become the listening ear. Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. No trying, no checking, only availability. If quiet comes, receive it. If thoughts move, let them pass unharvested. Rest in the awareness that awareness is self-revealing, self-sustaining. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. Let that voice be the only activity, even if it utters no sound you can name. Let presence be the atmosphere, the content, the form. Be still, not for a sign, not for a change, but because being is being. If a hand inside reaches to ask, is it working? Let the hand fall. The question has no assignment here. We are not peeking at waves, we are consenting to Christ's. It is I. Be not afraid. Simply abide. A minute is long enough for eternity to be itself in you. Now, without hurry, let a seal rest on the heart, not to close, but to consecrate. My grace is sufficient for thee. And as a whisper you might offer, thy grace is sufficient. Do not grade these minutes. Do not touch them with emotion, up or down. Rise as you are moved to rise. Allow the room to be the room again, the body to be the body again, the day to be the day again, yet bear, quietly, the sense that the one you touched did not start and will not stop. We will know by fruitage. For now, we have stood aside and let God be God. Now, let us be honest with ourselves, gently and without grading. What changed when you stopped trying to heal? Not, do you feel wonderful? Feelings rise and fall with the weather of the nerves. Ask this instead. Is there less pressure to fix? Is there less fear? Is there more space inside the same room? Has the compulsion to check the waves loosened its grip? Do you find it a shade easier to let the hand fall from the measuring of results? Do you see? This is the fruitage test. Reality proves itself. When the presence is even slightly realized, something practical shifts. Guidance becomes simple, sometimes as a quiet inclination to take one small step without inner debate. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, not a floodlight for a year. Reactions soften. You find that a sentence which would have stung yesterday passes by today, unharvested. Problems that felt knotted begin to loosen. Either the forms adjust outwardly or your sense of them is disarmed inwardly, and in that disarmament, the forms often follow suit without your management. The pace within changes. A quiet authority takes the seat where pressure had been squirming. The peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds. Kept, not pumped. Be very clear. Do not look for a thrill to authorize your prayer. Tears may come, thrill may come, but they are not the witness. The witness is steadiness. The witness is kindness where there was self-protection. The witness is a quickened resolution of affairs because you are not tangling them with your will. Ye shall know them by their fruits, not by emotions, not by eloquence, not by the memory of serenity 5 minutes ago, but by your life experience, by the fruitage. If your day begins to arrange itself with less friction, if the right call returns without your chasing, if the body's complaint is not the landlord of your attention for the next hour, these are fruits. If, in the heat of a familiar trigger, the mind stops insisting and you find yourself able to say, almost amused, drop it and turn to IS, that is fruit. Also, do not despise small openings. Often the first sign is as simple as turning down a loud radio. The room is the room, the furniture where it was, but you can hear yourself think. The radio of urgency softens. The mind no longer shouts orders. A sentence of scripture may rise and rest on you without your reaching for it. First the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. Let the law of growth be decent and orderly. If all you sense today is an ease to wait 5 minutes before sending the angry message, that is the blade. If a clarity comes tomorrow about the next step, that is the ear. If forms begin to line up in a way you could not have managed, that is the full corn. Do you follow that? And if just now you say, I notice no change, do not condemn yourself. Check one thing only. Did you keep a small string on result while you prayed? If so, cut it. Return for a minute to IS without the hook. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known unto God. The thanksgiving is the atmosphere of IS. The letting be known is not a list to manage God. It is consent to presence. Try again, very simply. Words as auxiliaries. Then stillness, no grade. Look again for fruitage, not feeling. Now we carry this into the day, where the old habit of striving waits at its usual doors, at the email that makes your stomach lift, pause. 3 breaths. Harmony is at the mirror when the body argues, pause. Life is at the account that seems thin, pause. Supply is at the conversation turning sharp, pause. Love is, do not make a ceremony of it. 30 seconds is often enough to interrupt the mesmerism and let grace reoccupy awareness. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Direction becomes clear because you are no longer consulting 2 powers. You are acknowledging one. The point is not to become a connoisseur of spiritual moods. The point is to live under the government of IS until harmony shows itself as the ordinary order of your affairs. If the pressure you wore like a garment begins to slide from your shoulders, if your speech slows enough to bless rather than to defend, if your steps find themselves guided without argument, this is the fruit. Quiet authority replacing pressure, grace revealing what is, rather than your will manufacturing a fragile peace. We prove by life, not by talk. And as we prove, we grow modest, because we see it was never our prowess. It was always the one acting as the one who finally stood aside. Do you see? Then let us go on and let this noticing become our new habit, not striving for harmony, but recognizing harmony and watching day by day how God, being God, appears as your way. Now let us walk into the 3 theaters where the old habit most quickly resumes its performance: money, body, and relationships. In each, the same plot repeats. A condition rises and whispers, I am a power. The moment you nod, you begin to manage. And management, this restless rearranging of shadows, is the signature of a 2-power belief. Do you see? When you sense yourself straining, you are not bad. You are believing in 2. Catch it there, drop it, turn to 1. First, supply. The numbers swing. A bill arrives. A delay lengthens. And at once the mind steps to the helm with charts, forecasts, and fear. You will notice you start to petition the bank account as though it were a weather system you must appease. That is the arm of flesh disguised as mathematics. Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. Your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things. The correction is not denial of bills. It is the end of bowing to numbers as deity. Very quietly. Abundance is, source is, omnipresence is. You are not consulting a ledger. You are acknowledging presence. When you return to IS, action may present itself. Call this person, sell that item, wait a day, but it will present itself as guidance, not panic. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Added, not wrestled. Second, body. A sensation knocks. A diagnosis repeats its name. The timeline of someone else's story tries on your coat. You begin to manage organs, to supervise chemistry, to argue with sensation as if it were law. This is the same two-power mesmerism, God in a second life in cells, spirit and a rival authority called function. Which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit unto his stature? Thought adds nothing to stature and subtracts peace. The correction is not indifference to care, it is fidelity to life as the only life. Life is, health is, wholeness is. The law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus hath made me free from the law of sin and death. As you rest in IS, the fear that was doing most of the hurting begins to unclench. Right care, if needed, will be shown you quietly. The hand that reaches for it will not shake. You will not make a villain of an organ or a hero of a pill. You will recognize suggestion as suggestion and being as being. Third, relationships. A word lands sharp. A face you love turns away. History is paraded as destiny. Immediately you move to manage persons. Arguments polished. Proofs collected. Verdicts rehearsed. Two powers again, love and offense, God and grievance. Refuse the casting. Do not make a villain of a person or a saint of your story. That is mesmerism's favorite costume. Very softly. Love is. Oneness is. Presence as both of us is. A soft answer turneth away wrath, not because your softness manipulates, but because love realized leaves wrath without a stage. Judge not, that ye be not judged. Judgment is the glue of the old play. Recognition is the light that reveals the rope. Often you will say only inwardly, I will help you, and then stand by in consciousness until the temperature drops and the next word is given or no word at all. In all three arenas, the pattern is the same. The instant a condition looks like a power, you begin to manage it. Management is the smoke of two fires you imagine to be burning. But there is one fire, expressing as all. I and my Father are one. Return to IS and let the false second power retire from its post. Micro practices are your guard. When the app opens and numbers glare, pause. Abundance is when a twinge startles, pause. Life is. When a text stings, pause. Love is. 10 seconds is enough to break mesmerism's sentence and let the word that was in the beginning speak again as quiet authority. Train yourself to spot the first flinch into management. That flinch is your bell. When it rings, give not a thought to the person or the condition. Drop it, turn to IS. Then listen. This is how striving withers, not by greater pressure, but by the reappearance of one in your awareness. Striving is merely the symptom of believing in two powers. Is restores you to one presence expressing as all. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know. Supply acts like flow. The body obeys peace more readily than fear, and those you meet find in your presence less to fight and more to rest in. Do you follow that? Then let the day come as it will, and meet it with brief recognitions, so brief they can happen between breaths, until grace becomes the only management you know. There is a ripening in this way, and it is very natural. In the beginning, you will find yourself using words to prime the pump. Harmony is, life is, love is. These are not magic. They are reminders. They keep the mind from its old appointment as manager and turn it to witness. As a beginner, you will employ them often because the mind wanders often. Do you see? But there comes a point at which words, having done their good work, begin to echo, and if prolonged, become interference. Words are only auxiliaries. When the pump is primed, let the water run. Recognition replaces recital. The fact of IS, already present, supplies the current. This is the maturing letter yielding to spirit. Now, be very clear about this receptivity. It is not blankness. It is not trance. It is not passivity. Receptivity is alert openness to divine impartation. Think of a watchman on the wall at dawn, quiet, attentive, unhurried, seeing without strain. Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth, not hearing your own counsel repeated with new polish, but hearing what proceeds from the one mind. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Proceedeth now, livingly. That is the difference between the letter you say and the word that says itself in you. The letter points, the spirit arrives. When this arrives, the ancient confession becomes present tense in your ribs. I live, yet not I, Christ liveth my life. Do you follow that? It is not a figure of speech. It is the end of the personal doer as central character. Action is still taken sometimes swiftly, sometimes not at all, but the authorship has changed. You find yourself moved rather than striving, restrained rather than explosive, clear rather than calculating. I live, yet not I, means the burden lifts. Christ liveth my life means grace becomes the only activity. You do not abdicate responsibility. You resign self-importance. You cease auditioning your will for the role of God. How will you recognize guidance in this mode? It is simple. It comes without push. It comes without drama. Often it asks for kindness or restraint rather than spectacle. A sentence will be given, apologize now, or wait, or go to bed. You will see it in the morning. Or call her. Say only, I will help you. Or pay that bill and stop rehearsing fear. Or be still. Do nothing today. At times it will be practical and quiet. Take the train later, bring a coat, drink water, keep the appointment. At times it will be silence itself, and you will know that silence is the word for this hour. The wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated. Do you see the signature? Peace precedes the step. It does not follow it in ransom. If it arrives with heat, compulsion, or the smell of proving yourself, drop it. That is the arm of flesh putting on a prophet's robe. If it demands you argue, defend, or hurry, drop it. Resist not evil does not mean endorse error. It means refuse to arm wrestle suggestion. Stand by in consciousness until the heat evaporates and the unforced word stands up by itself. When the Spirit speaks, the step requires no sale and no audience. You will not need to ask 5 friends whether it is spiritual. Fruitage will certify it. Things untangle. The tone in your own chest softens. The day arranges without your elbows. So we move from saying truth to hearing truth, from leaning on phrases to living in presence. Do not rush the ripening. Use words as long as they open the gate. Set them down when you notice they are echoing. Then listen. Listen as you walk to the sink. Listen while the elevator drops. Listen in a long hallway between meetings. The practice matures not by length but by sincerity. Over time, the intervals of listening join. The day becomes one room, and you live in it with the light on. This maturity does not happen by admiration. It happens by a quiet, steady rule. We will set that rule in a moment. A few minutes at waking and again at life's pressure points will make receptivity ordinary. Words may begin the work, but receptivity completes it until truth is not spoken by you but imparted to you and you find yourself living what you once tried to say. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. The lamp is already lit. Our task is only to notice, to keep oil in it through discipline, and to walk by its light without haste. Do you see? Then let us make this listening the habit of our hours, so that grace ceases to be a guest and is known as the house in which you live. Let us make this practical and simple. Set a small, steady rule that asks very little of the clock and everything of your sincerity. 3 minutes on waking, 3 minutes in the middle of the day, 3 minutes before sleep. That is all. Not as a ceremony, not as penance, but as the daily oil for the lamp. Morning by morning he wakeneth mine ear to hear as the learned. We are not trying to coax God into the day. We are consenting to the fact that God is the day appearing as you. Do you see? On waking, before the phone, before the list, sit at the edge of the bed or in a chair that knows your weight. Breathe without arrangement. Say very little. Words are only auxiliaries. 1 or 2 phrases are sufficient to turn the face. Harmony is, life is, thy grace is sufficient. Then stop talking, even mentally. Let the phrases be what they are meant to be, a gate you walk through and then leave behind. Recognize AS quietly behind IS, God appearing as individual being, as the one who listens now. Here, just once, within, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear it as law, not flattery. Then be still. Be still, and know that I am God. No fishing for feeling, no peeking for a sign. 3 minutes is long enough for the center to remember its center. Midday, at a natural seam before a meeting, after a task, or when the sun reminds you, sit or stand where you are. 3 minutes. The practice is the same. Minimal phrase to turn. Peace is, presence is. Thy grace is sufficient. Then listening. If the mind tries to rehearse the morning, decline the audition. If it starts building a forecast for the afternoon, let the scaffolding fall. Take no thought for the morrow. This is not neglect. It is the refusal to consult 2 powers. Let the middle of the day become the middle of a river that carries you without your elbows. Before sleep, do not grade the day, do not prosecute it. 3 minutes. If a memory rises that asks to be forgiven, say softly, judge not, and let it pass. If pride rises to take credit, say just as softly, I live, yet not I, Christ liveth my life, and let the record close. 1 phrase if needed, love is, or thy grace is sufficient. Then silence. Yield the whole day back to the one who lived it. Sleep inside that yielding. He giveth his beloved sleep. Now for the pressure points. When a text stings, when a symptom knocks, when a bill glares, when a voice you love turns sharp pause for 60 to 180 seconds, that is all. Do not rehearse the story. That is mesmerism's oxygen. Do not diagnose yourself. That is the arm of flesh with a stethoscope. Do not try to make yourself worthy. Worthiness is sonship. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. Drop it. Turn. Harmony is, life is, love is, thy grace is sufficient. Then silence. Listening. If a simple next step is given, apologize, wait, send a note, be still, do that without drama. If nothing is given, keep your hands off the wheel for a moment longer. Pray without ceasing is not a marathon. It is a series of honest pauses in which one presence is acknowledged as all. Negative guidance will save you time. Refuse inner speeches that justify, accuse, or explain. They are the smoke, not the fire. Refuse to count feelings as progress. Refuse to bargain with God. Worthiness is not earned. It is recognized. I and my Father are one. Your practice does not purchase grace, it prepares receptivity. Keep the phrases few, let them point and fall. The fruit is in the stillness. Tie this to fruitage, or you will drift into sentiment. After a week, ask quietly, is there less pressure to manage? Is guidance simpler? Is fear less noisy? Are affairs beginning to untangle without my elbows? If not, adjust the balance. Less talking, more listening, less person, more presence. It may be that your 3 minutes have become speeches. Shorten the words, lengthen the silence. Or it may be that you skip the pressure points, install them ruthlessly and kindly. 10-second recognitions often do more than one long struggle. Rarely. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know whether the rule is being kept in spirit. Consistency in short practices builds a consciousness where grace is normal, not occasional. This is not a lazy man's work, but it is a light yoke. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Keep to the rule without severity. Keep to it with love. 3 minutes at waking, 3 at midday, 3 at night, and small pauses at the doors where mesmerism usually enters. Over time, the pauses join, the day becomes one room, and you live in it with the light on. Do you follow that? Then let us begin at the next hour, and again tomorrow, and the day after, until the habit of striving gives way to the habit of recognizing, and grace is known as the ordinary climate of your life. Now let us take this into the most tender ground of all, how to help another without adding weight to their hour. Compassionate restraint is your first ministry. When pain speaks in someone you love, do not correct them with metaphysics. Do not hand them truth statements like pills. Words are only auxiliaries, and in the crisis, words are often an interference. Sit near. Be gentle. Be available. If speech is needed, let it be few and simple. I will help you. That is enough. Then, within yourself, begin your work. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. Drop it. Turn to IS. Harmony is, life is, love is, and quietly behind that fact, recognize AS God appearing as individual being, their being. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Behold that where the eyes report distress. Do you see? We are not fixing a person. We are yielding to the one appearing as this one. Why such sparing speech? Because argument creates resistance, and resistance is the smoke that chokes receptivity. Presence opens. The Christ is not imposed, the Christ is recognized. Flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. If revelation is of the Father, then your job is to stand aside from pressure and bear witness until the Father speaks for himself. No man can come to me except the Father which hath sent me draw him. Your presence, free of two-power belief, is the quiet condition in which that drawing is felt. A soft answer, or no answer at all, turns away wrath, because love realized leaves wrath without an audience. Here is the practice. The phone rings. The voice is tight. Tell me what you would say. Very little. I will help you. If practical help is obvious, call the car, hold the hand, sit with the child, do it. Simply then excuse yourself inwardly, even while remaining outwardly present, and return to IS. Refuse every picture that claims authority, the diagnosis trying to repeat its headline, the bank balance waving its arms, the timeline threatening a future. They are the arm of flesh, nothingness, suggestion, not substance. Say within, get thee behind me, to the temptation to manage a person, and say silently to the person, Christ of God, I recognize you. Do you follow that? You are not denying appearances to their face. You are refusing to enthrone appearances in consciousness. In that refusal, space opens for grace to reveal what is. If you are sitting by a bed, be a quiet room. Breathe without management. Let one phrase, if any, turn the heart. My grace is sufficient for thee. Then drop even that and listen. Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. Guidance for a word may come, simple and kind. I am here, or sleep now, or I will help you. Again, the tone will carry more healing than the vocabulary. At times you will be led to silence entire, and your silence will be louder than a sermon. Remember, I am with you always is the promise that steadies. Your task is to be the place where that promise is felt. Judge not their fear. Do not decorate it with piety. Stand by in consciousness until the atmosphere changes. You will feel it the way you feel a window open. And what shall be the test that you have helped? Not how spiritual you sounded, not whether they adopted your phrases. The test is fruitage. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Does the room quiet? Does panic loosen? Does the next right step present itself without an argument? Does reconciliation begin where accusation had the floor? If distance was demanded, is it taken without bitterness? If action was needed, was it shown and taken in peace? By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know if you have ministered presence rather than opinion. Let this be your glory. You said almost nothing, and grace did the heavy lifting. Let this be your humility. You know it was never your power. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth my life. So when you are called by a neighbor, by a child, by a stranger on a bench, keep your ministry small and your consciousness large. Say, I will help you, then behold the one as the many, and let is be the atmosphere. The most effective help is often silent recognition, seeing Christ where the world sees a problem. Prove it by your life. Let the day certify that your presence does more than your speeches. And when night comes, give the proofs back to God and be ready to say again tomorrow, without strain and without show, I will help you. Now we close soberly and simply. We have walked a clear arc together. Stop striving to make harmony. Recognize that harmony is. Depersonalize error as hypnotic suggestion, never a person. Build your footing on AS and IS, God appearing as individual being, and reality already present, so that your work is recognition, not construction. Use words only as auxiliaries, then set them down and listen. Let truth be imparted rather than performed. And measure your way not by moods, but by fruitage, by your life experience. Do you see? Hold yourself kindly accountable. If harmony seems slow to appear, blame no one, least of all yourself. Condemnation is a very old mesmerism with a pious accent. Instead, return to the method. Notice where you slip back into managing a person or a condition. Notice where you believed in two powers and put on the foreman's hat. Drop it. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. Turn again. Harmony is, life is, love is. Be still and know that I am God. 3 minutes can reset a whole day when those minutes are honest. Let this encourage you. Nothing is required to make God present. Nothing. Presence is. Lo, I am with you always. Your part is not production. It is recognition. I and my Father are one. The knowing of oneness is the end of the search for nearness. The lamp is already lit. Our practice merely keeps oil in it. My grace is sufficient for thee. Sufficient meaning there is no supplement to grace, no second activity required to complete what already is. So here is the continuing invitation. For the next 7 days, keep the rule lightly and faithfully. 3 minutes on waking, 3 minutes at one pressure point each day, whichever door mesmerism chooses. 3 minutes before sleep. In those minutes, a minimal phrase to turn the face, then listening. If a step is given, take it quietly. If no step is given, do not invent one. At the end of the week, examine only by fruitage. Compare your reactions. Compare your decisions. Is your peace less negotiable? Has the day arranged itself with fewer elbows? Did you find yourself saying even once, I will help you, and then helping by presence more than by speech? Ye shall know them by their fruits. Should you find that the fruit is sparse, do not add struggle, subtract interference, fewer words, more stillness, less person, more presence. Ask, where did I repersonalize error? Where did I arm wrestle a suggestion? If you can spot the flinch into management, you can end it. Resist not evil. Refuse to argue with a mirage. Remember the snake in the rope. What corrects the fright is not power over a serpent, but light. I.S. is that light. Carry this humility with you. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth my life. Let it govern how you answer the phone, how you read a bill, how you receive a symptom, how you hear a sharp word. If tomorrow the habit of striving returns, and it will knock at familiar hours, do not dramatize it. Smile at the old foreman. He is unemployed. Return to IS for 3 minutes. Then go on quietly, proving God by being the place where God is recognized. This is my charge and my gratitude. Prove it by your life, by the fruitage of days increasingly ordered by realized harmony rather than personal striving. Prove it in small ways, often. Prove it without show. Give the credit where it belongs and the proofs back to the one who lives your life. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Thank you.